Hello again guys, welcome back to another video as the draw for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations has been made, and my first initial reaction is boring. We're playing Burkina Faso again after playing them last time. We're playing Equatorial Guinea again after playing them in the same qualifying group, and we're playing Sudan in what could be a repeat of the Mauritania game in terms of similar playing styles. I'm sitting there, I'm watching that draw and I'm thinking, give us Tunisia, a North African derby. Give us a Cameroon. Loads of Algerians wanted Cameroon. I tell you what, I was not one of them. People wanting Cameroon to get revenge and all that. Not for me. I wanted to stay far away from that as possible. And we're getting Burkina Faso again. It's just boring. We all know that game's going to probably be like a 1-1 or a 2-2. So yeah, very disappointing with that. So we're going to go through group by group and take a look at this Afcon draw, and also stuff like venues and permutations for future rounds and stuff like that. So an interesting ceremony with Jims and Red One. Of course, Morocco, of course, they were going to reminisce about making the World Cup semi-final. There was a lot of presentations about that. Video clips showing Mauritania scoring, showing Kevin van den Kerkhoff crying, and all that sort of stuff. You know, let them do that, it's a bit of fun. But when the draw came round, Morocco first, A1, that's when it starts to get serious. Pot 4, pot 3, pot 2, and then it's always tense when pot 1 came up, because when it was the pot 1 teams, I did not want to be in group B. I saw South Africa, I saw Angola, I saw Zimbabwe. I was like, do not put us in there. Then I saw Tunisia with Uganda and Tanzania. I'm thinking North African derby that's winnable, and Uganda and Tanzania, 2 winnable games. We don't get that. We don't get the Benin and Botswana group, again very winnable. We get what can only be described as a boring repeat. I mean, playing Sudan, I mean, it's a sort of a North African derby. I don't know how I feel about that. Sudan will be loving the fact that they're playing Algeria. That's probably who they wanted in pot 1. But I can't get excited about playing Burkina Faso, and I can't get excited about playing Equatorial Guinea, because ultimately it's just a repeat of what happened last time. So if we look at the draw as a whole, the host nation Morocco, and I thought they'd get a little bit of an easy group. I actually am surprised. I thought Morocco would get an easier group than what they got. I think Morocco, of course, they're at home. They've got probably the best players. So, of course, Morocco, I think, will win Group A. Regardless of who they got, they were going to win Group A. But they're going to have to work for it. I think Mali will be a good game. Morocco will play Mali in the second game. That's a good game. Mali won't be happy about that, but it's a good test to see where Morocco are at. Mali were good last time out. I think Morocco-Comoros, which will be the opening game, you know, Comoros will be absolutely delighted. They've done so well to qualify for their second Afcon ever. They get to play the host nation, Morocco, in many people's eyes the best nation at the tournament. What an occasion. Both Muslim countries, Comoros will be loving that, and they'll be wanting to prove a point. They beat Tunisia in the qualifiers. Can they get one better and beat Morocco? And of course, Comoros in their last Afcon did come out of the group. And even in their World Cup group, Comoros are top. So I didn't want Algeria to get Comoros. I think that's a bit of a difficult game. And Zambia is just boring. Because Morocco, even Moroccans would probably find Zambia a bit boring. I mean, yes, they'll win, but it's just boring. They got Zambia last time. They got Zambia in the World Cup group, I think, and they're getting Zambia again. We all know Morocco are going to beat Zambia. We want to see other games. But if that's the way, it's like Algeria and Burkina Faso, which want to see other games. But if that's the way it's going to be, I think Morocco are going to be... There's tough tests there, but they'll get through them all. And it's a good, nice warm-up for Morocco to see how they get on later in the tournament. So Mali, Zambia, Comoros, I think Morocco first, Mali second. I think Comoros will get third, and I think Zambia will come last out of that. And then Group B, it's arguably the toughest group. You've got Egypt, with not only just Salah doing things for fun at Liverpool, but and Marmoush now at Man City. You've got the South Africans, who of course knocked out Egypt in 2019. The year Algeria won it. I may or may not have mentioned that before. Angola are unbeaten for a long time. That's 3 tough teams, and Zimbabwe returning from their ban. They're not going to want to make up the numbers either. So I think South Africa, although a good team, would have been hoping for an easier draw, like what Tunisia got. We'll get to them. I think South Africa are going to have a test in every game, because of course not only is Egypt a difficult game, and not only is Angola a difficult game, South Africa and Zimbabwe is a derby, and there's a rivalry there, and they played each other recently in qualifying, I think, for the World Cup. It's going to be a game that's going to be more than just South Africa, Zimbabwe. Those two teams will want to beat each other. Zimbabwe will be up for it, South Africa will be up for it. But I think South Africa will be absolutely fine and go through no problems. But certainly they would have been hoping for an easier draw. A lot of Moroccans wanted South Africa. and tried to get revenge of what happened last time. But I think South Africa have got to be on it, and I think they will be. So I think that it's a tough one to predict. But I think Egypt, South Africa and Angola will all go through. I don't know what order they'll go through, but there's some tough games. And even for Egypt, I mean, remember Egypt? People go on about Algeria losing to Mauritania in the last Afcon. Egypt didn't win a single game in the last Afcon. That's gone under the radar. I think they're a top side now. I think they'll be one of the favourites. But they've got a bit of pressure on them after not performing at the last Afcon as well. And then Group C, where I think Tunisia have got very lucky once again. Now, listen, this is not hate. I love Tunisia, I love Tunisians, I love Harissa. Uganda and Tanzania. Tunisia, if they had got some of the teams in A and B, they'd have been in big trouble. If they had Zambia and Comoros, who beat them in qualifying, big trouble. Angola, Zimbabwe, big trouble. Tunisia to get Uganda and Tanzania as a pot 2 team, they'll be absolutely delighted. Yes, they got Nigeria. Listen, Nigeria, I think, are going to get 9 points out of 9 and absolutely blitz Group C. But I think Tunisia have got awfully lucky again. This group's probably easier than their qualifying group. Of course, Nigeria and Tunisia played each other in a knockout game recently. They had history, and Tunisia had a bad cup, losing to Namibia. It's not a great Tunisia at the moment, or problems upstairs with the FA. But they've got a group there that could paper over the cracks. I didn't think Tunisia would have a good Afcon, but looking at that, and it's in North Africa, I think they'll be fine. I think Tanzania and Uganda will try and beat Tunisia, but I don't think they will have enough to do that. So I think Nigeria will come first. I think Tunisia will come second, and I think they'll be delighted with that. I think Uganda in third and Tanzania in fourth. And then we come to Group D, which again is a group that I was hoping Algeria got, because it was DR Congo, Benin, Botswana. Senegal got it. There's an interesting dynamic there, because Senegal and DR Congo are going to go toe-to-toe in their World Cup qualifying group, and then they're going to meet at the Afcon once again. You've got Benin and Botswana, who I think will both go out in the group stage. I think the actual game between Senegal and DR Congo might be closer than people think, and I think DR Congo right now might get above Senegal, but the bottom line is both of those teams will go through, so it won't be that big a deal. So I think Senegal and Congo will be fine. I think Congo might win the group. We don't know Senegal. Obviously, Cisse did the draw. He's not managing them anymore. And then it came to Algeria had a 50-50 to get Cameroon or not. It's Burkina Faso, it's Equatorial Guinea, and it's Sudan. So the problem with being in Group E is if Algeria win that group, which is not out of question, then we can't get a third place team. If Algeria win E, we get a runner-up. We get a second place team. So unfortunately, we can't play a third place side because of being an E and F. That's how it works in terms of the draw. We've got Burkina Faso, which is just boring. Like, it's got a draw written all over it. It's the second game again. It was the second game last time. It's the second game again. Remember going to the World Cup in 2014, we had Faso. Going to the World Cup in 2022, we had Faso. And the Afcon in 2023, we had Faso. And now the Afcon in 2025, we play Faso again. And I think it's going to be a stronger Faso. Look at what players like Ait-Nouri is doing at Bournemouth. Got a hat-trick the other day in the Premier League. Look at players like Tapsoba playing for Leverkusen, Kabore. We're going to be on it. You know, it's a great opportunity for Algeria to put the wrongs of the two Afcons right, because not only do you get to play Faso again, you get to play Equatorial Guinea again. Look, Nsoue's ban might be over, and they wouldn't put it past CAF if Nsoué would be back for that game. But remember the pink-haired mug Salvador and that Equatorial Guinea side that ended Algeria's 35-game unbeaten run. And, of course, you've got to put in mind, we had them in the qualifiers. Yes, we beat them 2-0 and drew 0-0. But the way we play, we just can't seem to replicate the qualifying form in the actual tournament. I wouldn't be shocked if we lost to them in the group after getting 4 points from them in qualifying. And Sudan, which of course is Algeria's first game, for me, I think Sudan's achievement is managing to qualify. Getting past Ghana. I think Algeria-Sudan game 1 could be a repeat of the Mauritania game. Sudan, every game is going to be like a cup final, and they'll be travelling in numbers in Morocco, by the way. They'll want to be seeing every game as a home game. I think Algeria will get through. I don't think we're going to come first. It's not the end of the world if we don't. I think Faso might win it. I think we might come second, and I think Equatorial Guinea will come third. But Sudan will treat every game like a cup final. And this is in Rabat, and I think it's a very small stadium. Very small ground in Rabat. I don't know why Afcon are doing 4 grounds in Rabat. We've got a tiny ground in Rabat. You know, Algerians, not just in North Africa, but across Europe and America, they're going to want tickets. That game's going to sell out. I think it's 12,000 seats at the moment. That's got to be expanded. Algerians cannot have a 12,000 seater, so I don't know how that's going to work. We'll be based in Rabat, but in the smaller ground. But it's just a bit of a boring group. And then Group F, again, it might be Group F or Group of Death with Ivory Coast and Cameroon. And holders Ivory Coast are no way getting the jam they had last time. They lost to Equatorial Guinea 4-0. Got to remember as Algerians. And you've got Gabon and Mozambique. Mozambique should never have been in pot 4. I don't know what's going to happen here. You look at Cameroon and Buemo's playing very well for Brentford. You'd expect Cameroon and Ivory Coast to advance. Gabon with Aubameyang, maybe his last Afcon. He's a bit of an Afcon legend. I think Mozambique might get third over Gabon. But again, that's a good game, Ivory Coast Cameroon in match day 2 in Group F. So you look overall, I think Group B and Group F are very difficult groups. I think Morocco got a nice group. That's a test, but they'll be fine. I think Tunisia and Nigeria will be delighted. I think Algeria's group, by overwhelming emotion, is just boring. Boring. 24th of December, Algeria, Sudan. Then Faso in the second game. And then we're playing Equatorial Guinea on New Year's Eve. So those 2 qualifying games against Equatorial Guinea, Algeria have no excuse to not be ready for that game. And I think in Group D, Senegal and DR Congo, when they play each other, that will decide who comes first in that one. So that was the group stage draw. I think Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria very happy. Egypt not so much in terms of the North African teams. And I think looking at around the groups, I don't want to write off Uganda and Tanzania, but Tanzania was so poor last time, sacked the manager halfway through. Uganda, I think the achievement for them is qualifying, so fair play. I think Algeria are going to have it tough once they get out of E, not being able to play a team that comes third, because A to D play the third place team. So whoever, if Algeria win the group and get a runner up, or don't win it and get a group winner. So it's very difficult to see, or come third and get a group winner. So I think in terms of that, that's where Algeria could be a struggle. But the group's easier than I thought. I thought we'd get a Cameroon. I thought we'd get an Angola or both. So I can't complain too much about that. But what are your overriding emotions from that Afcon group stage draw? Is it same as me, just a bit boring? Did you want to play Cameroon? Look, imagine if we were in C, you play Tunisia as a great derby, Algeria, Tunisia and Morocco, and then you play Uganda, Tanzania, 2 winnable games. But Faso, Equatorial Guinea and Sudan. Sudan's an interesting one because we don't have that much previous experience against them. But we'll see how that goes. So we know Algeria's first Afcon game will be against Sudan. We know Morocco against Comoros is the opener. Lots of North African and Arab teams in this competition, aren't there? Let me know your thoughts on this group in the comments. Are Algeria going to make it? We haven't won a game since the final in 2019. Surely we're going to put that to an end. I'll see you next time.